These instructional climbing videos should only supplement real, in-person climbing instruction from a climbing professional. Do not go outside and try these techniques without an experienced climber with you. Hey there, my name is Rod Kashef here with SOKO Outfitters, and I'm going to be teaching you right now how to top rope belay. The first piece of gear that we're going to be using today is a locking carabiner. There are many different types of locking carabiners. This one right here is a manual locking carabiner. Ones that are meant for climbing have weight ratings on the side of them that are written. Make sure that your ratings are strong enough and appropriate to climb with. Many carabiners that aren't meant for climbing will say on them that they're not made for climbing. There are a few different components to the carabiner. The part that opens and closes is called the gate of the carabiner. The back of the carabiner is called the spine. The second piece of gear that we'll be using to belay is an ATC. ATC stands for Air Traffic Control Device because you're controlling someone who's in the air. There are many different types of ATCs and also many different types of belay devices. This one's pretty standard and commonly used, so we'll learn on an ATC. And the same method that's used for the ATC is used for some other belay devices as well. Most carabiners that you use to belay with will also have a narrow end and a wide end. I'll be referring to these different parts of the carabiner as we discuss how to set up a top rope belay. When you're ready to set up your belay, grab the rope and make a bite. Then grab your ATC and put the bite through your dominant hand side. I'm right-handed, so I'm putting the rope through the right side of the ATC. Once the ATC and the rope are parallel with each other, grab your carabiner and clip both the rope and the ATC. Once they're both clipped, bring the carabiner to your belay loop. After you've clipped your belay loop, make sure that your carabiner is locked. When you're doing your safety checks for your belay setup, it's important to start from your harness and move towards your ATC every single time. That way you're ensuring that you don't skip over any steps. So my harness is up and over my waist, it's tight, and my buckle is double backed. My carabiner is going through my belay loop and it is properly locked. Both the rope and the ATC are going through the carabiner, and the rope is fed through my ATC correctly with the brake line coming down and the climber line going up towards the anchors. As the climber moves up, the tension in the rope will be released and slack in the rope will be created and become much looser. The job of the belayer is to keep tension on the rope. In order to belay safely, we're going to be using the P-bus method. P-bus is an acronym that stands for pull, break, under, slide. In order to safely perform P-bus, we first need to make sure that our hands are in the right place. With your non-dominant hand, for me it's my left, I'm going to put it on the climber's line. This will become my guide hand. My guide hand will move back and forth between the climber line and the brake line. My dominant hand, which for me is my right hand, is going to be on the brake line. We're going to call this hand my brake hand. My brake hand will never move from the brake line. You will begin belaying as soon as the climber starts climbing and slack is created in the rope. First, start by pulling the rope. You will pull the rope with your guide hand. Once you pull down with your guide hand, you're going to pull up with your brake hand. It's important to pull directly up with your brake hand because this ensures that the rope will slide through nice and easily. If you try pulling down with your brake hand, you can't pull the rope anywhere because the ATC is going to cinch the rope down. So the first one is pull. If the climber falls and you're in the pull position, there's no tension on the ATC, which means that when they fall, the rope can slide out really easily, which could create a dangerous situation. That's why immediately after we pull the rope, we want to break. That breaking puts tension on the ATC and the rope, so that way the rope doesn't slide out. After you break with your brake hand, you're going to take your guide hand off the climber line and put it directly under your brake hand. The reason we bring our hand under our brake hand is to grab the rope firmly so that we can free our brake hand to slide up the rope safely. If we don't bring our hand under our other hand, then we have to release the brake line in order to bring it up. That can create a dangerous situation because if the climber falls in that moment and you're not holding onto the brake line, the rope can again move freely through the ATC and create another dangerous situation. After we have pulled, braked, and brought our guide hand under, you're going to slide your brake hand all the way up. By sliding your brake hand up, you can release your guide hand, bring it up to the climber line, and repeat the entire P-bus process. Pull, brake, under, slide. As you're belaying, you want to assume that the climber could fall at any moment. When they fall, no matter where you are in the P-bus process, what you're going to do is brake and bring your guide hand and hold it here. Hold them up until they say they want to continue climbing or they want to be lowered. If they want to continue climbing, begin belaying as normal. If your climber wants to be lowered off the climb, pull the rope really tight. The climber will sit back in their harness and let you know that they want to be lowered. As you lower them, make sure you're lowering them at a speed that's safe for you and the climber. Keep your hands in the same exact position as they are in the brake line and just feed the rope back through the ATC slowly by shuffling your hands like so. When you're climbing, it's really important to keep in good communication with your partner. Some people, while they're climbing on the wall, want more or less tension on their harness. So make sure to listen for their cues. If they want more tension in their harness, pull the rope a little bit tighter. If they want less tension, give slack by feeding the rope back through the ATC. On climbs that are very overhanging, where your body is leaning back, if you're pulling too tight, then the climber might get pulled off the wall. In situations where the climber has reached the top of the climb or they're at a point in the climb where they just want to rest, they may ask you to take. By taking the rope, it means that you're tightening the rope and making it so that they can sit in their harness nice and comfortably. So if a climber yells take, P-bus as normal until you feel the rope tightening. Once the rope is tight, you can sit back in your harness and wait for the climber's next cue. Do they want to keep climbing or do they want to be lowered?